Accepting no. All right. So obviously, this is a really big problem for any child, whether they're autistic or not. When it comes to accepting no, obviously there's going to be a lot of opportunities where children are going to, especially if it's like a tangible item or denied access. I'm thinking about the schools, like if a kid wants to go to the gym, but they can't go in the gym because they have the library. Accepting no, denied access, this is a very common problem. And obviously, some strategies that you're going to want to implement are like proactive strategies, right? Antecedent measures. So, having a visual schedule, priming our children during transitions. Priming just means like giving them a warning, like giving them a heads up, like, hey, right, what are we about to do right now? Like, oh, we're going to go to library, or you want to make our learners aware of what the next transition is, because a lot of our learners struggle with transitions because of like a lot of anxiety issues, right? But also too, there's so many transition, especially in the school, that like sometimes, like for instance, transitioning from recess or transitioning from lunch or having to leave the gym, like all these fun activities to go do something that's least preferred, there's going to be problems. So some of the things that you're going to work with, and also too, one of the things that you have to understand is like, you know, for some learners, it takes a while for them to accept no, right? So one of the things that you're going to want to generalize and help with that transition, especially if it's something that they can't have access to in a little bit, probably like right now in the moment they can't, but it's something that they could have access to in like 30 minutes or after a session. You'd want to remind them like, okay, like, oh, look, the timer's up. Whatever we're gonna do next, and like, oh, look, we can come back to this after that. Like having the first then language is gonna help. But the whole point is, you don't want to just kind of like say no to our learners. You want to give rationale and explain certain things in the moment so that they could actually understand and get a better picture of what's going on. Because when you hear the word no, it's almost like if it's infinite, right? But sometimes it's probably, oh, no, right now we can't have that, but and after we do after we have sped, then we can come back to the iPad or whatever. You see what I mean? So back to what I was saying, some strategies that are going to help with accepting no are definitely going to be priming. So like, okay, like also giving warnings if they're on like a high preferred activity. You're going to be like, okay, 1 more minute, 2 more minutes. All right, that's the timer. What are we going to do? Should we look at our schedule? You want to kind of always keep the momentum going. But also, like I said, explaining rationales, like, I know you don't want to come off of this, like validate their feelings, especially if it's like an emotional reaction, like validate their feelings, but understand like, hey, if this is something that they can access later on, let them know when they can access it, or if it's something that's like tomorrow, then they can access it tomorrow. And sometimes it's just a hard no, right? It's like, I know you're upset right now, so validate their emotions and just kind of help redirect into the area or the next transition that you're trying to get to. And then another good strategy is before the transition is about to happen, you kind of like, hey, should we take a left or should we take a right? What should we do next? Kind of give them that kind of choice prior to like the time being up, so that they're more motivated to, since they have already picked what they want to do next, the transition is a lot smoother. And just offering choices in general, like, no, that's not available, but these two things are. So what would you like to do? Just kind of try to redirect and give them an opportunity to have a choice of what's next when they're denied access.